Okay, I've just popped round a friend's. It's mid-July. The pool's just been opened. It's not been looked at for the whole season so far, and it's extremely green. I followed the procedures as earlier discussed, and we're just going to wait now 24 hours to see how it turns out. Okay, it's 24 hours later, and as you can see, we haven't reached crystal clear yet. However, it is a lot better than it was yesterday. We discovered there was still a lot of debris at the bottom of the pool. This pool's actually 10 foot deep at the deepest. There's a bit of a bowl at the bottom, and it was a collection of all leaves at the bottom there. So they've now been taken out. It's going to be backwashed every 6 hours, and we'll have a look at it again tomorrow. Okay, we've had a few problems with the swimming pool. We were chucking in loads of chlorine. 200 tablets went in total, but every time we did a test, it was coming out 0. Took a sample of the water to the local swimming pool centre, and he confirmed no chlorine, but the one thing he did say was there was a load of stabiliser in there. He's a bit flummoxed as regards to why the chlorine's disappearing, and he's recommended a type of chlorine that has no stabiliser in at all, and give it another shock. And overnight it has changed colour dramatically. We're just going to run the pump and filter for another 24 hours and see where we go from there. Okay, here we are 10 days later. Pool's looking nice and clear, and you can actually see the bottom drain, which is 10-11 foot down. So all very good. However, it's been an absolute nightmare. We had to actually dump 80% of the water last Friday. Prior to that, 10 kilos of chlorine had gone into the swimming pool, 3 litres of algicide, twice as much algicide as we needed, and whatever we did, the pool remained green. And every time we put in a kilo of chlorine, an hour later after reading it, it showed that there was no chlorine within the pool. The guy in the swimming pool place was flummoxed, and basically on Friday he said there's nothing to it but to dump 80% of the water. So we did that, refilled it, and after 2 or 3 days of vacuuming and cleaning and putting a flock in, it's now really clear and inviting. The one thing I've found out about is the stabiliser. I knew it was in the chlorine blocks, and the job of the stabiliser is to keep the chlorine within the swimming pool. But what I didn't know was if your stabiliser goes over a reading of 100, your chlorine actually stops working effectively. And once the stabiliser's in the swimming pool, it doesn't leave. And I joked to my mate that, well, I've not dumped any water for the last 6 years. If that's the case, my stabiliser must be through the roof. So I took a sample of water to the swimming pool place, and sure enough, it was 140. So I dumped half my water last Friday, and it's back down to 90 now. And at the start of next season, I'll dump another 50% and refill again to bring that stabiliser down to an acceptable level. I was actually told that you're supposed to dump 1/3 of your water every year for that reason. Lesson learnt. But the swimming pool looks really nice now. Okay, here we are 2 weeks later, and the pool's looking crystal clear. It's so clear you can actually see the bottom drain 10 foot deep down. If you fancy a holiday in France, Brittany, why not look us up on Google? It's the Maison Verger in the lovely hamlet of Kerbourbon, which is Kerbourbon, along with La Forge and La Ville Maison. The Maison Verger sleeps 8 comfortably. Both La Ville Maison and La Forge sleep 6.